All right, we're live. Um, we're just waiting on Will to join. He's taking a minute. If anyone that's watching, you can yell at Will when he gets here, because then I can put the graphics on and all that. But we'll deal with that in a minute. What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Once again, waiting on Will. I hate you, Will. But we're gonna get started. The Rangers are set to play in about an hour away from now at 3 o'clock against the Philadelphia Flyers. They are looking to make that win streak extend to 10 straight, which would tie their franchise record for most consecutive wins in a row. So it should be a good one. The Flyers, third overall in the Metropolitan Division. Rangers are first, obviously. I accidentally started a little bit of a comment war on the PR NHL Instagram account before. If anyone wants to go like that and give me some support, because there's a lot of Philadelphia fans that aren't happy with me right now, and my reputation is on the line. If the Rangers lose this, not only does the win streak come to an end, but I'll look like an idiot on social media. So that's something else that's going on. I see we got a few people already here in the stream. Make sure you guys leave your comments down in the comment section, and we can pull them up on screen. We can talk about them and all that good stuff. Any questions, comments, concerns that you might have while we get started here and wait for a few more people to get in. Recent Rangers news: Brennan Othmann was sent back down to Hartford. We know he was called up as a precautionary measure just in case Panarin or VC weren't good enough or feeling well enough to get going against the Devils, but we didn't have to play him, and it's good. I'm happy that Panarin played. Panarin got 3 assists in that game against the Devils. He played phenomenally. VC on the first line played well. I won't lie, though. I was kind of hoping that maybe Laviolette would choose to give VC the night off just so I can see Brennan Othmann play a full game on the first line. But at the end of the day, I can't complain. I'm happy that Jimmy VC is healthy because we need him, and he's very good. And yeah, see if we got a few more people in here. How is everyone doing today? Head of Rangers game day. I'm happy that they're playing at 3 o'clock. I don't like waiting all night to see the Rangers play. But let's see here. Looking at the players to watch right now on Philadelphia's side recently, Owen Tippett has 3 goals in his last 5 games. Travis Konechny, 6 assists in his last 5 games. And Konechny has 9 points in his last 5 games. So Konechny's kind of on fire right now. Not as good as Panarin, who has 10 points in his last 5 games. So it's going to be an interesting one. I don't know if the goaltender has been confirmed yet. If anyone knows, let me know. We got Jack here in the chat. Is any crazy trade proposals? We made a video recently going over some mock trades that the fans submitted, some we found on Twitter, and there were some pretty crazy ones. I don't have any mock trades prepared for this at the moment, but what I do know is there's a lot of people saying that some of the better options that the Rangers could go for, most of them are former Rangers. Frank Vatrano is in a lot of rumors, Pavel Buchnevich. There's a couple other ones out there. There's a few other names that we might want to bring in, like Adam Henrique, I've heard is a good name that's connected to the Rangers. Jordan Eberle, the Rangers might be sleepers on. I just know right now the biggest thing is making sure that we don't give away too much. Like Kakko, originally it was rumored that the Rangers were taking offers on Kakko. Then with Blake Wheeler going out for the season, we need to make sure that Kakko does not get traded. I was against it in the first place anyway. I love Kakko. We can't get rid of him. I would prefer to not get rid of a first-round draft pick this year, but, with the Monahan trade and the Elias Lindholm trade, both involving first-round picks and more, I feel like it's kind of hard to avoid giving up a first-rounder at this point with anything going on with the deadline. But something's got to happen. We need a first-line right winger. As much as I love Jimmy VC, he is not going to really improve the first line as much as we would want to if we want to go to a Stanley Cup final. He's more of that bottom 6 role player right there. So whether it's Vatrano, Buchnevich, Henrique, honestly, anyone really that can consistently produce points and help out Kreider and Zibanejad. Jack continues here. He's got a 4-way parlay going today. including the Rangers money line. I don't bet on the Rangers because every time I bet on the Rangers, we lose. So I've learned my lesson. I've spent a lot of money in the past and I've lost a lot of money. So I would rather just save my cash and have the Rangers win. That personally would make me a lot happier. Mika over 2.5 shots. Fox and Mika over 0.5 points. $20 pays $108. That's crazy. Sup, Tony? Waiting on Will. That's why we don't have graphics right now. The Mika over 2.5 shots, I definitely think will happen, especially the way he's been playing recently. Because he started to heat up too. He finally remembered how to score goals. The Fox and Mika over 0.5 points, I don't know. Because obviously Fox scores a lot of points, but you know what? It is against Philly. So maybe those are two of the Rangers' top point scorers. So I think definitely one of them might happen. I think it depends on how Mika plays because he's very 50-50. Some games he's going to score 5 goals, and other games he's going to cost us 5 goals. But not really. He's not even that bad at defense, but you get what I'm saying. Tony asks, is Lafreniere scoring tonight? I hope so. Lafreniere has been playing pretty well recently. He's got what is it? It's like 4 points in his last 5 games, I think. So he's finally starting to heat up. He's playing good defensively too. It looks like the Lafreniere breakout is continuing, and he's finally starting to pan out into the player that the Rangers always really wanted him to be. Tony says it's the Mika shots that worried me. I don't know. Mika takes a lot of shots. It'll probably happen. I know, like the Panarin over on the shots usually always hits because he's just been shooting every single time he has the puck this season. That's why he has as many goals and assists as he does, more than ever before in his career. He's on pace to, at least. But I feel like the shots are always good for the over, unless it's like Trouba. For some reason, when you look on all the sports betting apps, Jacob Trouba always had like his over under on the shots is always like 3.5 or 2.5. Like Jacob Trouba doesn't shoot the puck that often. You can always go for a safe under on that one. Jack does say, though, Mika is a weapon against Philly. Mika Zibanejad does score a hefty amount of points against the Philadelphia Flyers. Whenever Will gets here, he probably has some crazy stat pulled up knowing exactly how many career points he has against the Flyers. I don't know off the top of my head, but if anyone wants to look that up, we most certainly can. See, the thing is with the Flyers, though, is the NHL, they're trying to market this game as if it's like 2 powerhouse teams in the Metro because the Rangers are first in the Metro and the Flyers are third. But like the Metropolitan Division isn't that good. Like the Rangers and the Hurricanes are definitely carry the division. Rangers with 79 points, Hurricanes with 73. But then there's a pretty steep drop off there. You know, Philly has 67. Then it goes down to 3 teams tied with only 60. So it's like, is the Metropolitan Division even really that good this year? I personally don't think so. I mean, you look at the league standings, Rangers are 3rd overall in the NHL. If they win right now, they'll become the 1st. Hurricanes are placed 8th in the NHL. I mean, going from 3rd to 8th is for the Metropolitan Division in particular, it's a pretty steep drop off because I feel like usually the top 4 teams in the Metro, at least in recent years, have always been like very high in the standings. There have been years where like the top 6 teams in the NHL were all Metropolitan. Well, not all, but like in like, you know what I'm saying? Like the Metropolitan teams have always been top of the league. It's always been the Rangers, Hurricanes. Last year was the Devils. Pittsburgh and Washington were always good. This year, obviously, they're not. But it's really strange to see our division not be as dominating as it was. The Devils had the biggest fall off of all time. Went from incredible playoff team last year to now they are 19th in the NHL. Fans pay to see Jack Hughes lose is what we like to say. Rangers single-handedly like dismembered their franchise last game, probably one of the more dominating ones you've seen this season. The Islanders, the Capitals, they're done. Like I know that's what happens in sports. You know, teams are good and then they become not good. Teams that aren't good become good. It's just such a weird shift. You know, you look at the top 5 teams in the league. Boston, they've always been solid. Then Vancouver, Rangers, Panthers, Stars, and then 6 is the Jets. You know, go back 3 or 4 years. If you would have told me that the Vancouver Canucks and the Florida Panthers would be in the top 4 teams in the NHL, I probably would have laughed at you. You know, Florida went through a pretty lengthy rebuild phase. Vancouver went through a pretty lengthy rebuild phase too. Vancouver was kind of expected, though, I feel like, because you look back at their draft capital over the last few years, they had a lot of first-round draft picks, and they were always one of those teams where we're like, they have easily the best prospect pool in the NHL. It's just one of these days, it's just something's going to snap, and then all those prospects are just going to become really, really good at hockey. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. They're 37, 16, and 6. They have 80 points, which is tied for first in the NHL with Boston. Florida, I feel like, kind of came out of nowhere, though. Obviously, last year they were really good, but they weren't good enough to win a Stanley Cup. Hopefully, the Rangers are good enough to win a Stanley Cup this season. It'd be cool, though, if we had a 1994 rematch 30 years later, Rangers versus Vancouver. That would make me kind of happy. Originally, to start off the season, I was a little scared that the Rangers might have a rematch with the Kings in the Cup Finals, because the Kings were good, but they had another monumental fall off. Jack says the Panthers are the most well-rounded team in the league. You know, I don't doubt that fact. I think you look at the Panthers core, their offense is 4 solid lines. I don't think there's a weak one. The defense is solid too, and they've got good goaltending. And they're a team that has just played consistently. I think consistent is the best way to define the Florida Panthers, where, you know, like, they're not in any of the headlines where they're like insane powerhouse team dominating every game, but they also haven't really gone through that much of a slump this year. They've just been consistently good. And that's kind of what you look for in teams that are going to win the Stanley Cup. Like, obviously right now the Rangers are cooking 9 games straight, but they've also had major portions of this season where they were in a very bad slump, and they were just going win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, back-to-back losses. And, you know, knowing that this team has the potential to go in a slump, and it's because we've seen it, that does make me nervous for the playoffs, kind of like what Jack is saying here. And that, which means that what's, and they are mean, which is perfect for the playoffs. They have the grit, they have the physicality, they're consistent. Don't be surprised if the Florida Panthers make a very, very lengthy playoff run in this year's postseason, which I don't know, though, because I'm looking at the standings right here. They're second in the Atlantic Division. Toronto's third, so they would have home ice, but they would have to go against Toronto. As we know, the Toronto Maple Leafs are not good in the playoffs, so I feel like we can count them out as a first-round exit. After that, they would take on the winner of this is if the playoffs started today. They would take on the winner of Boston and Tampa. That would be a good series, Boston and Tampa. I feel like Boston would have the edge there. Tampa isn't as dominant as they are in the past. So then Boston versus Florida in the second round. I feel like you got to give it to Boston there. But I don't know. Like we're talking about, Florida is a very well-rounded team. We've seen how when Boston reaches the playoffs, things can collapse for them. But I don't know. It could happen, because then, I mean, let's look at the Rangers. If the playoffs were to start today, first round, it would be Rangers versus Detroit. Patrick Kane returns to New York for the playoffs. Of course, the script would go crazy if that happened. But I don't know. Rangers would beat Detroit with the way things are going right now. That's what I would say. Then in the second round, they would play the winner of Carolina and Philly. I think Rangers can beat either team. And then Jack does make a point. Florida took out Boston last year. See, you're right. That did happen, but a different year, different story. I feel like Boston's definitely going to want revenge after becoming like the laughingstock of the league, which the Rangers did get very lucky on, because we should have been the laughingstock of the league, but it was kind of just overshadowed by Boston. So let's be grateful for that. Chris says Detroit will smack us. I don't think so. I think there are a lot of teams that will pose a serious threat for the Rangers, because we've seen the problems that we have in the playoffs where our stars, they don't try as hard, or they don't understand the level of like physicality that's needed to an effort that's needed to go on a deep playoff run. So like that's what happened last year against the Devils. You know, on paper, the Rangers should have smacked the Devils. but the Devils played harder, they played faster, and they beat us in 7 games. And that's what happened. We're going to move on. I don't even want to talk about that. I think the team did learn a valuable lesson last year, and now we have guys on the roster like Johnny Brodzinski, Will Cooley, that sort of bring that to the team that we didn't have last year. We were too pretty last year. Patrick Kane, as much as I like him, he wasn't what the team needed at the time. But now we've got guys like Cooley that I think bring that certain aspect to the game that, at least against Detroit, I think we could beat Detroit. Like, if the playoffs started tomorrow, I think the Rangers are beating the Detroit Red Wings in 5 games. That's just my opinion. No. Then you move on to the winner of Carolina and Philly. Closer series. I still think the Rangers beat either team, but maybe it's 6 or 7 games. Definitely 6 or 7 against Carolina. The Rangers might. I'm going to say 6 games against Philly too. I don't want to say 5. It's not that. It's not that much of a drop off from the Rangers to Philly. And then conference final. I'm getting deep into the playoff predictions right now. Conference finals would be against, if I had to predict, out of all these teams from the Atlantic that would make it out, probably either Boston or Florida. Rangers versus Boston. It's the flip of a coin. I feel like Panthers, again, I might just be the flip of a coin, but it's because the Rangers haven't made any trades yet. I can't do this until we see what the trade deadline looks like, because Jimmy Vesey on the first line, like we said to start off the live stream, I love him. I love Jimmy Vesey, but the Rangers aren't going to go that far in the playoffs if Jimmy Vesey's on their first line. So we'll see. Babushka says Kakko must play with passion and impose themselves physically. Well, that's what I love about Kaapo Kakko this season in particular is, he's not scored a lot of points. From an offensive standpoint, you can say bad things about Kakko, and I can't blame you. But the reason why I will always defend Kakko and want him to stay on this team is because of everything else that he brings. He's a big guy. He's playing very well defensively, and he's played more physical too. He's a very smart hockey player. If you watch him play, you'll notice his hockey IQ is very high. The plays that he makes, he's strong, and he plays good defense. So that's why I don't want him to play on the first line. We had a shot up there, didn't work out, but he plays so well on that third line with Cooley and Brodzinski. That's a very strong defensive unit that we have, and it works perfectly. And that's kind of what the Rangers need. That's a line that's built for the playoff atmosphere, at least. Chris says, I think they got Kane at a bad time. They need him now more than ever. Then they need him now. I don't know why I can't read today. They need him more now than they needed him last year. I disagree. Yes, you are right that we got Kane at a bad time. One, he was injured, like you said. They got him prior to surgery. He was playing with a bad hip. But at the same, yes, that's true. But I don't think he's the style of player that the Rangers need. Patrick Kane is kind of just like what Artemi Panarin does, but a little bit older. So when the Rangers had the two of them playing together, it just didn't really work out. 2 players trying to do the same thing. I know they had incredible chemistry together back in the day in Chicago when Panarin was first starting out in his career, but he's developed and grown into his own little version of Patrick Kane, where he's more. Well, this season's different because normally Artemi Panarin is a passing playmaker who has incredible feeds. This season, he still does that, but he starts shooting a lot more, which is kind of what makes him look a little bit more like Patrick Kane. But what the Rangers need is just a pure goal scorer. Someone like Pavel Buchnevich, somewhere like Vladimir Tarasenko, where he's going to go on the first line with Kreider and Zibanejad, and they're just going to score a lot of goals. Let's see. Jack says Rempe is making a case to make playoff roster, even though he has more penalty minutes than time on ice. That Rempe shouldn't. I mean, yeah, I don't know how I feel about. Well, I love Rempe. I want to make that clear. What I'm thinking about is his penalty minutes, when obviously he got the 5-minute major against the Devils and was ejected in the first shift of the game. I'm happy that he didn't get suspended. I think it was a clean hit. I think the problem with Rempe is that he's just so big. He's 6'7". So naturally, anytime he lowers his shoulder for a hit, it's just going to hit the guy in the head because he just towers over everyone. There's really not much that he can do about that. But as far as a playoff roster, I think I need to see more. It's not that I need to see more from him. I need to see more content to really get a feel on him. He's had a solid first 2 games, and then he got kicked out of his third. He hasn't scored any points yet, but again, he's on the fourth line. As long as he continues to play good defensively and he can just keep hitting people and fighting and just adding grit to the team, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But I do want to see more before I give any official standpoint on it. Chris said when Kakko is on his game, he resembles Yager's game without the wrist shot. I think that's a good comparison. It's a hefty comparison, saying that he's like one of the greatest to ever do it. But you're kind of right. I would love to see Kakko score more points, but I'm at a point where I think he's not going to become reach the expectations that we wanted him to as a second overall draft pick. We're going to have to kind of come to terms with that. But at the end of the day, I don't think he's a bad hockey player by any means. He shouldn't have been drafted second overall, but I'm very happy to have him on my team. And it is what it is. We have the Lafreniere breakout to be happy with. So that's the way that I look at it, at least. Jack says, trade Miller now before the rest of the league realizes what a defensive liability he is. Also, he is massively overrated by the media. So we've made a lot of K'Andre Miller content on this channel, and we've said it a lot of times that the Rangers should trade him. But I can't deny the fact that across these last 9 games that the Rangers have won, all of them, Miller has played good. He's had a solid stretch of play recently, but we have seen this season what happens when he's not playing good. And if the right trade came on my table, I would probably make it, but I don't know for who or for what. But you can't say that K'Andre Miller's been playing bad recently. Eric says, I bet you're glad now that they didn't trade Mika. I was never a part of the fan group that wanted to trade Mika Zibanejad. I always knew he would start the heat up. I mean, it happens every single season. He starts off pretty mediocre, and then as the season reaches the halfway mark onwards, he kind of starts to heat up. But I will say I never wanted to trade Mika Zibanejad. We were just wondering what if they did, like what would the return package be? Because a lot of people were talking about it. And I've got some good news, everybody. Will, welcome to the
podcast. I'm finally here.
Well, we're glad to have you. We were just talking about, we had a whole playoff discussion. We went through like a playoff bracket if the playoffs started today. We didn't finish it though, because I need to wait and see who the Rangers trade for. Let's see. Chris says, I don't like Miller, but we should be patient with him. And if he does go, who replaces him? Mackey. The only way I think we should trade K'Andre Miller is if we're getting another top 4 defenseman in return. We don't have anyone in the system that's going to play good. Like next up is Zach Jones. And I think as much as we complain about K'Andre Miller, he is still better than Zach Jones. So you're going to have to get a top 4 defender in the return package. But I don't know, Will, now that you're here, I'll let you talk.
Dude, we complained about K'Andre Miller when he was going through his slump, like in the middle of the season. And now that he's put together 6-7 good games and nobody's talking about him. The critics are always loudest with K'Andre Miller when he's struggling, but when he's on his game, they nobody talks about him. And honestly, like that game against the Devils, he played really well in that game. He played really well against the Stars as well, but nobody's talking about it. Everyone will only talk about K'Andre Miller when he's struggling. And I think people need to put a lot of respect on his name. I mean, he's young, and I know he's playing with Jacob Trouba. I would like to see him with Adam Fox, because I thought last year they played really well together, and I thought that Laviolette would have them playing together a little bit more this year, but obviously it's just not the case, as he doesn't really like changing anything. But I just think a lot of people hate on K'Andre Miller when he's struggling, but he's on his game more than he's not. So I guess it's whatever. But if you trade Miller, you're not going to have anyone that's going to replace him in the system. I mean, yeah, Zach Jones, if you give him a shot, I think he's going to be good, but he's not going to be what K'Andre Miller is. But yeah, like you said, if you trade him, I think you're going to have to get. I think that you'll have to trade for someone like Jacob Chychrun if you're going to get rid of him.
Yeah, I think a guy like Chychrun is probably what you would need to see. But Yeah, no, Keandre Miller, like as much as we complain about him, you can't deny that he's been playing good recently. So as of today, I'm gonna say like we don't need to trade him, but if he starts to slump again and it's like Stanley Cup on the line, maybe we should make a trade. I don't know, probably not. Maybe not this season. I think if it's a continuing problem into next year, maybe, but I would say probably not. Roderick is here. He says he was devastated when we didn't get the 2 shutouts.
Oh my, Roderick, holy crap, dude. Let me tell you, I was so mad. Igor should have had 2 straight shutouts. He should have had 2 straight shutouts. Like,
especially against the Devils.
oh my God. Like, there is 2.5 minutes left in the game. Like, I get it. Loff was on his game. He was feeling himself, but dude, do not get cute. Like, that turnover was what led to him losing that shutout. I was so mad. I was happy with the win, but I was more mad when the game ended because Igor didn't get a shutout. Like, I was pissed.
The only way I would have been satisfied with Igor losing a shutout is if Lafreniere got his hat trick, but it didn't happen, so it just took like 2 L's right there. So, I don't know. Igor has been playing out of his mind recently, and I'm more than happy that he's back. So, do we know who's playing goalie today? Has that been confirmed yet?
I don't think so, but it's probably going to be Igor, I'm guessing.
That would be like his 4th straight start.
He's hot. Ride the hot hand.
Might as well let Quick play at least one of the 2 games against Columbus in that case, I think. All right.
Can you put the second to last comment up on the
from Jack?
L? Yeah.
This one?
Oh. You want to read it?
Kakko and Miller for Hamonic and Brady T. Is that Brady Tkachuk?
Yeah.
For Hamonic and Brady Tkachuk with 25% retained by the Senators, and we give a 1st and 3rd. Hold on. I gotta like rethink this.
There's not a snowball's chance in hell that happens.
So we would give up Kakko, Miller, a 1st and a 3rd for Hamonic and Tkachuk. No, I'm good.
The Senators aren't going to give up Tkachuk. They just aren't. He's literally the perfect captain. Like, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that they would trade him.
It's not realistic, but if the Senators were, would you be fine with that deal?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I really like Miller, and I don't want to give up on him, but I guess for Brady Tkachuk, it's worth it. But I guess I'd be fine with that.
Tkachuk is obviously better than Kakko.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. Like Chris, he said he's a left winger, but he probably can play both. I mean, it's Brady Tkachuk. The guy's an animal. I would do it, but it's just super unrealistic.
Yeah, I would accept. Like, if the Senators came to me with that, I would accept it. But I don't think they would. They wouldn't give up on Brady.
Matthew left Calgary because they weren't going to pay him. Like, it was the same reason that Gaudreau left. He wasn't going to get paid what he wanted. So Brady's locked up for the next 6 years, and he's the captain right now. Like, and I guess they're almost done with a rebuild. I really don't know. They were supposed to be done with a rebuild last year when they signed Giroux, but I don't know. I just don't think that's realistic at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Brady Tkachuk's an awesome player. I do really like him, so I would definitely.
I'd be happy if he was.
I'd be happy with it too.
I would also be really happy if Connor McDavid was on the Rangers.
Yeah, exactly. Like Austin Matthews was on the Rangers. Let's get him. Let's get crazy. Let's use our trade packages for Matthews.
Yeah, if someone cook up a trade package for Austin Matthews, and we'll review it. Okay, let's see what we got here. Eric already asked, when the Rangers win the Stanley Cup this year, they should take it on tour or put it on display. They should take it on tour, bring it on down.
Oh yeah,
I'll hold it. I'll take a couple pictures with it.
The players are definitely taking the cup to their hometowns, no doubt.
Yeah, but I like how it's not even if the Rangers win the cup.
Yeah, I like the confidence. That's awesome.
It's when we win the cup.
That's awesome.
It's just a waiting game at this point. We said it right after the Rangers started off the season 1-0. We were like, all right, that's it. Just give it to us now. But nope, the NHL is making us wait, really drawing out the script.
I think the playoffs this year are going to be really good. I was looking at the bracket like right at the season ended right now, and there's some really good matchups on that
yeah.
on that
We were
Eastern
talking about
side.
that earlier. I mean, let me pull it up again
I
because.
think it's
Well, are
um
you looking at
the
like
NHL posted it.
yeah?
Yeah, it was us versus the Red Wings, the Canes and the Flyers, the Panthers and the Leafs, and the Bruins and the Lightning. I
Okay,
think that would be a very, very fun first round to watch.
yeah, it would. Because I was going to ask if you were basing it off of points or points percentage.
Mhm.
Because
I don't know what did the NHL base theirs off of? I have no
it
clue.
was points percentage, but
Mhm.
I think it's this today as of today, like
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now, it's the same. But I remember
Mhm.
when they posted it yesterday, there was a difference between points and points percentage.
Mhm.
Um, I think like one of the matchups was switched.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you said the NHL did it off point percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because the Rangers currently have the best points percentage in the entire NHL,
Mhm.
but they're third overall in points.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Because
I just
oh,
think
yeah,
so.
no, yeah, because if it was in that case, if it was points percentage, the Rangers would be against Tampa and not Detroit.
I would take Detroit and Tampa. I think they would be two intriguing matchups.
They would both be intriguing. I would prefer if the Rangers played against Detroit though, because I have PTSD from Rangers versus Tampa playoff series.
I actually, me personally, I would rather have Tampa. They're not playing well right now. They're not. I mean, last Saturday they just got blown out of the water. They gave up 9 straight goals to the Panthers, and I know it's the Panthers and they're really good, but they usually play them close. Like Stamkos is not producing well this year. Like there's a lot of players on that team that aren't doing as well as like people thought they would. It's kind of crazy.
It is a little crazy. Never forget about Stamkos. The Tampa Bay Lightning did say that they wouldn't trade Stamkos unless they were
Hmm.
out of a playoff spot when the deadline comes, and they
Yeah.
are in the second wild card spot right now. So
Oh
maybe,
damn, their second wild card. I didn't know that.
maybe
I thought
just
they were the
maybe.
first.
No, Detroit has 66
Mhm.
points. Tampa has 65, but Detroit's played 2 less games.
So the Lightning have games in hand, or I mean the Red Wings have games in hand.
Yeah, and they have a 1 point lead. So
Yeah,
I don't know, but
anything can happen.
anything can happen. Never like I think the craziest thing was when in I think it was 2019 or 2020, one of the two, when the Blues
Oh
were
yeah,
were dead
2019,
were dead last in the league on
and
January
they
1st,
won. Yep,
and then
and
they
they
won the
won the
Stanley
cup.
Cup.
They were on
So
fire that playoff run. Binnington played out of his mind. Like that was probably one of the craziest runs I've ever seen. They were, and that was kind of like the Panthers last year, except the Panthers couldn't finish, obviously in the Stanley Cup. But that Blues team was a Cinderella run if I've ever seen it. That was crazy. Like
yeah,
from them to go from last place to winning the cup is insane. It just shows that the regular season does not matter come playoff time.
there have only been 2 times in my life where the team that I wanted to win the Stanley Cup final won the Stanley Cup final, and the Blues were one of them. I did not want to see Boston win that year.
Yeah, that year was crazy. I thought Boston had it locked up, and nope.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay, let's see. Let's see what we got here in the chats. Um, Chris said Ottawa is in such shambles that I expect everything. Even if they move tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised. Ottawa is in shambles, but I said they're not going to trade
I
away
agree.
Brady. You're frozen, Will. It took a minute, but we've got our first frozen Will. There you go. You're back.
Yeah, I apologize for that. I knew I froze. I think obviously Ottawa's in shambles right now, and they were projected to at least like be competing for a wild card spot this year, but and I know that they're not even close to that, but I think they're such a young team that I would be shocked if I mean they'll probably move on from Chikrin. I could see them probably like Tarasenko, like guys that are on older
You're
chicks, but
frozen.
I couldn't see them get rid of um Chuck. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, Jack does point out wouldn't be the first time the Rangers were involved in a trade for a captain. The Callahan St. Louis, what was St. Louis? He was captain, right?
Yeah, he was captain
Yeah.
at the time.
I think that was probably the last one that happened when we traded for a captain. Obviously,
Yeah,
Blake Wheeler was a former captain, but we didn't even trade. We just signed him.
yeah, he got stripped of the sea.
Yeah. Oopsies. Now and then he played terribly for the Rangers, and then he broke his leg.
Poor guy.
Yeah, I do feel bad for him. As much as we dog on Wheeler on this channel, you hate to see an injury like that.
I mean, he wasn't like when he came in here, like he produced well for like what his contract was, but he was never really supposed. He wasn't supposed to be the first line right winger. He was kind of just thrown up there when the Rangers didn't have one. And
Yeah, it's
I
kind of
feel
like the
bad for
same thing
him.
that happened with Nick Bonino, where he like played pretty solid on the fourth line, and then as soon as Philip Hedl went down, he had to play on as the third line center. Like that's not why we brought him here. Like that's not what he was supposed to do.
Yeah,
And then he played
exactly.
bad and he got cut.
Yeah,
It's not his
yeah,
fault. Like it's not his position. He's not supposed to be doing that.
yeah, exactly. Bonino was just supposed to be a fourth line guy, like a 13th forward, not like a everyday guy.
Yeah, but it is what it is. It's a business. I liked Bonino though. It kind of came out of left field when we put him on waivers. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked by that, but I'm happy because I like Brodzinski. He's doing a
We,
lot right now.
yeah, I don't get why. I mean, I know we're pretty cap strapped at the moment, but I don't see why we couldn't have just called up Brodzinski, had him move into the third line center, and then just put Benino back on the fourth line.
I
Like,
think, I honestly, I really do think it's because, well, one, they probably didn't know like when Hedel was going to come back, but if for Bonino to get sent, I mean, not Bonino, for Brodzinski to get sent down to the AHL, he would have had to he would have been placed on waivers first, and he'd have to clear to go back down. So I think that's probably why they waited a little bit to call him up. I'm just speculating. I don't know if that's true or not, but
yeah, I don't know. But let's look at some more comments because we only got like 10 minutes left. Roderick says, I wanted to share. My older brother and nephew were at the game last Sunday and sat right below the King. They even got a good photo. That is really awesome.
I was there, but I didn't get to sit below the King. That's awesome.
That would be the best Rangers game day experience. It's very, very cool, Roger. Schnazzy says, I hope the Rangers get Tarasenko or Vetrano. I know, Will, you're very anti-Vetrano. I'm personally for it, but of the two, I would prefer Tarasenko. But I don't think we're going to get Tarasenko. I don't think it's happening.
No.
There are too many other teams in on it.
I don't want either.
You don't want either.
No.
Let's see.
They need someone else. Bring in like I loved Vetrano when he played here, and I loved Tarasenko when he played here. But they need to get fresh faces. Not they can't keep bringing back the same guys. And Vetrano he's playing well like this season because he gets power play time in Anaheim, and he's just not going to get that here. Like I don't think that's not what the first line needs. They need a dynamic guy. They need like a Jordan Eberle.
Yeah. I'd be happy with Jordan Eberle.
Me too.
Roderick says he saw an article this morning that the Pens could possibly trade Carlson back to the Sens.
That would be a complete circle row moment right there. But I don't see why the Senators would do that.
But you don't see why the Senators would want to take back Carlson?
Yeah, because I feel like they're not like if they were like a little further down in their rebuild, I could see it. But like right now, like why would you want to take on a contract that large?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It would be interesting to see. I remember back when like Carlson and Mike Hoffman had a bunch of beef.
My God, I completely forgot about that.
That was like one of the craziest things though when Hoffman got traded to Florida. And then the NHL was like, nope, like these two cannot be in the same division. And then he got traded to San Jose.
That was wild. I totally forgot about that.
I don't even remember what the beef was about.
Let's see. I totally I completely
Wasn't
just
it
blocked
something
that out of my mind.
Carlson's wife or something? I don't know. See, I don't want to like speculate on this in case it was actually like anything serious. But
this says major scandal involving Erik Karlsson's wife and teammate Mike Hoffman. So unbelievable stories. The wife of Senators Superstar defenseman Erik Karlsson has made shocking accusations that have serious implication for her husband's teammate Mike Hoffman. According to a stunning report from the Ottawa Citizen, Melinda Karlsson has accused Hoffman's longtime girlfriend Monica Carrick of orchestrating a campaign of harassment against her and her husband following the death of their unborn child during the 2017-18 National Hockey League regular season. Jeez,
Yeah, I do remember that.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's why the NHL was like, these two cannot be on the same team. And then Hoffman got traded, and they were like, no, they can't be in the same division or conference.
That's
because then he got traded to San Jose, which then, ironic enough, Karlsson then also
San Jose. Did they play together on San Jose? I can't remember.
I don't think Hoffman was still there.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Let's just keep going. We're getting way off topic.
Yeah,
we haven't even talked about today's game like once. Chris says Wheeler, good teammate but not a winner. That's why he had a fallout with Scheifele, who's more tough, more of a leader. I fully agree with you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I know they liked him in the Jets locker room, but he just wasn't a good leader. I remember them saying or reading something literally yesterday, actually.
Brooklyn, thank you for the support. I very much appreciate it. Happy that you're enjoying the show. See here. You guys think any current players on the team will be great enough to get their jerseys retired with the Rangers? I think Kreider probably will if he wins the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. I think if he doesn't, it'll take him a while to get it retired. Right now, the only current Ranger I could see getting their jersey retired without winning a cup is Fox. And Igor, if he keeps up, how good he is.
My thing with Igor is he started his career kind of old.
Yeah.
He like Lundqvist played when he was really young. Igor didn't really become the starter until he was like 27 or something like that. He's like already. I think
he was 25.
How old is Igor right now?
He was 25 when he made his first start because he's 29 now.
Yeah, he's already 29.
Yeah,
we realistically only have like 4 or 5 more good years of Igor because of age.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you have guys like Henrik Lundqvist who played with the team for like over a decade.
Yeah.
So Igor could. It just depends on how long he's able to keep playing.
I think Panarin will get if they win a cup with like this year, and Panarin, obviously Panarin will be on the roster. He'll probably get his jersey retired. Kreider, Subban. Like if there's a lot of people, like there's 3 on the team that's like if they win a cup, yeah, they're getting their jersey retired. Easy.
I think Kreider could without winning a cup, just because.
Yeah.
He's been with the team for so long, and he holds like so many records.
Yeah,
where it's like I feel, and he's done a lot for the community too.
I agree with that.
I think the Rangers like might have to retire Kreider. It wouldn't be like kind of like you said, like when Lundqvist retired, it was like automatic, like we're retiring your jersey. Kreider, it might take a little bit of time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it'll take maybe like 2-3 years until he gets it from when he retires to get his jersey in the rafters.
See, I don't know though. What happens when the Rangers just run out of jerseys to retire? I know we haven't retired that many.
Dude, it's like the Yankees. They go to half numbers.
Yeah, I don't know. We're lucky. Hopefully, we won't have to know the answer to what they'll do in our lifetimes.
See, I don't think they'll like teams will ever run out of numbers. Really, I feel like you got to be like really damn good to get your jersey retired. It's like that's like a freaking like I understand that it's like. It's a special occasion. Obviously, I know that, but it's like a special occasion to get your jersey retired by a team. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Obviously, Artemi Panarin is my favorite Ranger at the moment, but I kind of hope they don't retire his jersey just because 10 is my favorite number, and I want to see more players wear number 10.
10's a good hockey number too.
It is. I feel like that's a good number in every sport. Actually, maybe not basketball, but like. Maybe not baseball either. Maybe just football and hockey.
Take
I
it
don't know.
back and
I
rescind
like number
it.
10. So like I wouldn't be mad if the Rangers don't retire. Maybe they retire just Panarin's jersey, but they change his number to like back to 72 or 9 or retire 9. Just slap 9 again. We'll do it twice.
The third time they do 9.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. Now Eric said Zibanejad and Igor, possibly Kreider and Fox. I think those are the 4 that have potential, but we'll see. Jake Gensel's on the market. The Penguins aren't going to want to trade Jake Gensel to the Rangers.
They won't trade him within the
I would like to see it happen, but I don't think it will.
Yeah. I think if they do trade him, it'll definitely be out west. They're not going to trade him in inner. I don't think they'll even trade him in the Eastern Conference. They'll definitely send him out west, like what the Sabres did with Eichel. You don't want to see him in the playoffs or play against him.
It's the smartest thing to do, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Joe says, Kreider forever a Ranger. I feel like he will. The more I talk about it, I think it's more of like a definite yes. Kreider's jersey should be retired. It's well deserved, obviously. Joe says, "Hey guys, I'm from Edmonton, but I've been a Rangers fan since 1991. Go Rangers, go! You were there to see the Rangers win the Stanley Cup. I'm very jealous of you. Hopefully, I will see it at some point in my lifetime too. But welcome from Alberta." How many players on the NHL roster? 30 to 35, I assume. I honestly don't know. Isn't it in the 20?
18, 19. So 19, 20 plus 2. So 20 and then like 25 because or 3 to 4 scratches or 3 scratches. The Rangers have 3 scratches right now, so 23. I think it's 23.
Because there's 12 forwards, 6 defensemen. That's 18 plus 2 goalies is 20.
Yeah, there's a maximum of 23 players on a roster. So
yeah, so it's less than that.
Yeah.
So you would need 60 retired numbers before you start to run out. So a little bit more. You need 70.
And there's some numbers that have never even been used by teams and by players in organizations.
Yeah, wasn't Vladimir Tarasenko? He was only
I think he was
he was the second Ranger to ever wear 91, and I don't even remember who the first guy was, but he only played a handful of games.
And Othman was the first player to wear 78.
Yeah, that's the thing about hockey. I feel like those numbers that are in the 60s,
they're never used.
They're never used. There was Mario Lemieux, but then other than that, name me. I guess Jágr too. But other than Lemieux and Jágr, how many
superstars are wearing in the 60s? Not a lot.
Yeah. That's why when McDavid picked 97, everyone was like, "What?"
What? No, did he wear 97 in juniors?
He did. He always had it, but before McDavid, 97 was not a hockey number.
Yeah, not at all.
And now Bedard 98.
That's a sick number, in my opinion. I can't lie.
I like it, but you don't see it around the league. Which
I feel like there's certain numbers, and I know we're getting sidetracked a little bit, but I feel like there's certain numbers that that are obscure for players to wear, but you'll see a player rocking it, and you're like, yeah, he does that well. He does that really well.
Yeah, well, it's like Sidney Crosby. Who else is wearing 87?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What number does Gino wear?
Malkin? He's
71.
71, yeah.
That's an obscure number too. 56, Jake Gensel. That's an obscure number.
Gensel's 59.
I don't think 78 is his number of preference because he's been wearing that for his entire career. So that's definitely his number. He wears that down in Hartford too. 78 is definitely his number of preference.
Yeah.
Don't know about Cooley though.
Cooley 50. I see 50 is a weird number. Other than 10, 20, and 30, I don't like hockey numbers that end in a 0. Imagine if someone just wearing number 80.
It's like if you're a skater wearing 30, 30 is a
it's a goalie
30 is a goalie number. If I see a skater wearing that, I'm like, that's
so weird.
40 is a goalie number 2, 70 is a goalie number.
But then 10 and 20, 10 and 20 those are forwards.
Yeah, exactly. That's like numbers in the NFL. When I was younger, that's what I always did. Was that's not a regular position player number. And then obviously they got rid of that, but
yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, Chris brought up that point. I just want to give you the shout out for bringing it up. At this point in the season, we are getting to "We want the cup" chanting territory. We are. If we're getting to that point, trade deadline is like 2 weeks away, less than maybe. How many? It's a leap year this year, right?
Yeah, it is.
So there's 5 more days in February, and then 8. So it's 8 plus 5, 14.
Yeah. Oh wow, there's 2 weeks until. Wow.
2
So
weeks until
the trade deadline's on a Saturday this year. Wow.
Uh-huh.
I think.
Which is good because we can live stream because I won't be
Yes.
working.
Oh yes, that's a great idea. Great idea.
If it was on like Monday through Friday, I would have been so mad.
There was
I would have
one
been at
time.
work.
It was the 2022 trade deadline, and I was in class. It was when we traded for Cobb. I was in class, didn't pay attention to any of my classes that day, and I was just refreshing Twitter until I saw that we traded for Andrew Cobb, and then I was like, you know what?
Well, for the free agency 2 seasons ago, Tony was on an airplane when the Rangers signed Vincent Trocheck.
I remember this
So
story.
I was just sitting there and I didn't know what to do because I had never done a solo episode before. So that's a little bit of lore for the fans there. It was just went right when we signed Vincent Trocheck. I was immediately really happy, and then I was really scared. And the video's still up if you want to go see my first ever live video. It was pretty bad.
Dude, I remember where I was. I was skating around in my garage, and we signed him, and I was like, "Holy crap!" Because I didn't. I think it was the day after the Stanley Cup ended, and I was like, "Holy crap!" Like, I didn't even hear that we were interested in Trocheck, so I was confused, but I was happy
We
because
predicted it. You could have been watching Fireside Rangers at the time when I made the video about it. We said, we were like, what if the Rangers signed them? Then again, that year we did that about like any center that was on the market. Like anyone could get a video about him at that time. But like the chances was out there. We had to cover everything. All right. We got to wrap up soon though, so let me fly through some of these comments.
I like this Edmonton one right here.
We're doing good. Thanks for joining us today, Michael. Roderick was in 8th grade in '94, and then he wants us to have cup winning memories as well. When I was in like 6th grade or something like that, the Rangers made it to a Stanley Cup final. So I have some memories of it. They're not winning memories though. No. Eric says, by the way, great show, guys, and great questions from the chat. Thank you, Eric. And yes, the conversations that y'all have brought up today have been phenomenal.
Yeah, I love them. I've been having a blast.
Joe says, I live in Edmonton, and there's been rumors McDavid will get the biggest contract in NHL history to stay an Oiler. I'm pretty sure he's already on the biggest contract in NHL history.
McKinnon is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, who?
McKinnon.
Is that was? But when McDavid signed his current,
when he signed it, he was the most. He had the richest, and then
he wants his record back. Or Draisaitl,
it's AAV is No, it is actually McKinnon. Sorry, go on. I'm sorry.
That's all right. And then Draisaitl was asked if he wasn't to play in Edmonton, where would he play? He answered Rangers. And then it moves on to ask, could Draisaitl be a future Ranger after his contract in Edmonton? I would be so happy to see that happen, but Draisaitl is also going to cost a ridiculous amount of money. And
he's also already 28.
How many more years left does he have?
Let's see. He signed it. Next year's his last year on his contract. He'll be 29.
Still, like a 5-year deal could work. It would be really
expensive in Edmonton with McDavid, though.
He's gonna have to stay. I would be really happy to see it happen, but I don't think.
Dude, that would be. I couldn't imagine like McDavid and Draisaitl not playing on the same team. But that would be like. I mean, if Draisaitl goes maybe Draisaitl wants to go somewhere to show people that he can lead a team without McDavid.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It'd be a good Joe. What I'm gonna need you to do is come back next season when he's about to be a free agent, and I'll make a video about it. All right. So you're gonna have to like and subscribe now.
Wow, you put a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah. Eric says that I've gotten much worse. LOLJK. Very funny, Eric. Very funny. Michael says he was in high school in '94, 18 when he won the cup. Again, very, very jealous. But hopefully this season we're able to we'll win the Stanley Cup together as the Fireside family. But Will, do you have any closing thoughts, or am I good to wrap this up? It's almost time.
Yeah, I just want to say that this Ranger team has overcome a lot of adversity this year, and this 9-game win streak is freaking nuts. I don't know.
If the Rangers win this afternoon, they tie the franchise record for longest win streak. So let's see it happen. But that about wraps up today's live stream. Thank you to everyone who joined us and left any comments and questions. It was great to have a good discussion with you all this afternoon. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, ring the bell so you don't miss notification. If you're watching us on Apple or Spotify, be sure to give us a 5-star review. And follow us on all of our socials at Fireside Rangers, blah, blah, blah. And have a good one. Let's go Rangers. Wait. Before I actually wrap up, Will, you got to drop the parlay.
All right. All right, here we go. Will Cooley scoring 2 goals. Oh, no, anytime goal scorer, Will Cooley. Let's go Panarin over 4.5 shots, if that's one. Anything Panarin over on shots. Lafreniere, anytime goal scorer. And I'm going with the crazy one. Igor Shesterkin, anytime goal scorer.
That's in like pretty much all of your parlays. But all right, everyone just heard the parlay. Be sure to go drop that bet. Put your house and your mortgage on it and everything.
If it doesn't hit, I don't bet. So do not come back to me and tell me it's my fault. I just made the parlay. Eric was the one who told you to put your mortgage on.
I'm ending the stream.
I'm sorry, I had to say that.